Hello, this is a Schimmel 151 centimeters long grand piano made in 1988. Now there's a lot of white pianos, or just off-white this is really, it had no use I don't think at all as a piano. I'll explain that in a minute, but here you can see there's no marks at all, no scratching on the music stand, no scratching on the sides of the music stand, so as a piano it's not had any use whatsoever. Now the case is immaculate except for this very little knock, which was obviously done in removal, and we can probably disguise that pretty well, but no scratching on the casework whatsoever. And just walking up to the piano, the insides, this very well constructed piano. We've mentioned before about a small gap here, that sign of a good piano maker, the copper as long as possible. Just every aspect of it oozes quality really. Schimmel is one of the top makes in the world, West German making pianos with tremendous integrity, so this is perfect really, as perfect as you can get. Now it has an interestingly designed treble prop stick, triple prop stick, sorry, I beg your pardon. So that would be that would be the shortest, and then that's the medium, and that's the highest. I won't show you now, but it's pretty obvious I think. Now, as you may have noticed earlier, it's got a PianoDisk system. This is a PianoDisk PDS 128 Plus. I've contacted the installers and also the manufacturers just to get some details on this one. Now, before we look at the PianoDisk system, I want to look at the piano itself. That's middle C with 60 grams put on it. It wasn't going down before it was lubricated. Neither was C sharp, and now they're both going down quite happily. And D doesn't seem to be so heavy. Let's try take 4 grams off, and even with 4 grams it's fine. So there's a variety here. That's 48 grams. That's lighter than average, and 50 would be normal. Sorry, I just put these on top. That's another 8, that's 60 grams, and that's not going down very happily. So we'll lubricate that just to show you that lubrication itself is enough that's needed on that. Now the first lubrication point is the centre rail here, and I've broken my rule here, which some people are happy to use wet lubricant on here, but Protec, which this is dry lubricant we normally use there, but I could take the whole action apart to put that on. I just wanted to test a couple of them, so forgive me for that. Obviously we'll be taking it off and dry lubricating it afterwards, and the list lubricant will dry out. But wet lubricant can come back to be sticky later on, so just a test really. And those two are going up and down. If we look at the key here, it's going up and down quite happily, and this F C sharp here, the D is more or less going up and down. That still needs a bit of lubrication, but the E, that's staying up, so that shows that it's just about going down, but it's very slowly. So we're going to lubricate that. So we've put lubricant on that. It's going up and down quite happily now, as you can see, no resistance at all. Now it's just about going down with 60 grams, but still needing a lot of encouragement. It's not as lubricated as C, which is going up down and that was the same, I can assure you, earlier on. So we need to do more lubrication. So if you look at the hammers, that's the offending E. Let's lift up the ones next to it as well, drop them down, and that's not dropping down until later on. You lift it to almost vertical and drop them down, and not dropping down, so that's too tight. So just put a little bit of lubricant, this is Protec lubricant, on the hinge there, to try and do it while you're watching it. That's difficult not to spill lots of it, as you can see, but that's lubricated enough I think. So let's find it again and lubricate and watch it. Let's see if it's going down enough, and drop them down now, and that's going down fine. Let's try once more, a bit more vertical this time, and it's dropping, not quite. Let's try once more, sorry, and it's actually the one next to it on the left that's not going down, if anything, but they're both pretty much okay. Would probably lubricate all of these just to make sure. And now it's starting off on its own, but still needs a lot of encouragement to go all the way down, so one more thing to lubricate. And I've put dry lubricant on the roller, in this case Teflon powder, and obviously it looks a bit untidy at the moment, it's blowing off, but just to show you what we've done there. So pressing it down That will hopefully go down more smoothly now. I still need a bit of an encouragement, so I think if we drop it from it, it almost goes down, but we could still lubricate the capstans here, or rather polish them up, and that might add a little bit. We may have to add weight to the key if we don't get it down to 52 grams, I would say, is the maximum we're going to allow that to be. Just before listening to the piano, see the hammer wear is caused by the player mechanism. That's the PianoDisk only. It hasn't been played apart from by the player mechanism. I'm pretty certain about that. You can see very, very little hammer wear really. That would be equivalent to an hour of playing for a year, normal playing, reasonably heavy playing actually, and that would be the kind of wear you'd expect, and it certainly doesn't need refacing, just a bit of voicing. So that's assessments of what work we need to do to improve this Schimmel 151 grand piano made in 1988. And just want to look at it as a piano first before we look at the PianoDisk system. As a beautiful instrument, just plays beautifully. Bit bright here and there, like that note, and that one too. So a bit of voicing to do. Of course, brightness is personal. If you like a bright tone piano, then you can leave it, but now it does play smoothly, but needs lubrication. It's a bit too heavy for the average pianist really. If you want a heavy touch, obviously that can be that we can weight it that way, but because it's not been used for a long time, it's tended to seize up slightly. So that one we just lubricated, middle C. That seemed to just need lubrication to be about 54 grams. That's still about 56, I think. So we'll have to bring them down, if necessary, put weights in the keys, and they vary, as you can see. That one's obviously stiffer in the middle. Then we need to lubricate the hammers and the rollers too. So that's the piano side of it. I'm going to show you the player side of it after this. Now the player side of it is activated by this button here, which switches it on, initializing, and now it can be operated by remote control as well. We have a remote control unit here, and this is later than the piano. It was installed later on. I think it's 1999. Now we have this supplied with it 1995 piano soft system supplied by Harrods. This I don't know if Harrods installed the actual organised to get it installed, but here we have what looks to be the date to me, which is 1999, and we have a price here as well for it. So let's assume it's 1999. Now you might have noticed it's a floppy disk system, so if I push that, we get the floppy disk out. Obviously, push it back in to install the floppy disk. We've got several floppy disks with it. I also got in touch with PianoDisk, and they said that they don't do new floppy disks anymore, but they have got these in stock. So that was a list of ones they have. That was, as you can see, June 24th, 2019. So that they might not all be in existence. So they're phasing those out, obviously, but you can record on these floppy disks as well. PianoDisk also tell me that you can install a CD system in the back of the floppy disk system if you want to use CDs, and they obviously have CDs that are programmed for it as well. Now if we look inside, you can see how the PianoDisk system operates. The piano mechanism is totally independent of this, so you can just pull that out, and some of these were slightly sticky, so I asked the person who installs them for us. We do install PianoDisk systems via another company, and he explained to me that these just need lubricating with a very fine oil, so you can take these right out. As you can see, they're solenoids, and they're all functioning pretty much perfectly, just the odd one that was slightly sticky. So I think I've sorted all those out now, but we're certainly guaranteeing that side of it as well, and they don't normally cause problems. He did tell me that nowadays they have one operated with an iPad, so you can get obviously a lot of tunes. Presumably you get an almost infinite number of tunes you can play on these. So the floppy disk is slightly outdated in that sense, but it's been an excellent piece of equipment. They have several floppy disks, and as I say, you can record on it as well. He said you can try it out without the action in, just to see which ones might be sticking. So let's try it, let's play it and see if you can recognise the tune it's playing without the actual notes, just the rhythm. So certainly a piece I didn't know very well. I think I've heard it before, but didn't really recognise it straight away, and had to look up what it was. Very good demonstration pieces. We'll hear it played in a minute. So if you've managed to guess that, you've done better than me. And before we listen to it, just a quick look at the back of the drive unit, the MIDI of course system, and there's a CD in and out as well, which apparently you can install. Please do ask if you've got any further questions. And there's the mechanism for that's operating sustain, and there's also a sostenuto mechanism operating sostenuto. So I'm not going to talk over it playing itself, just to listen to it and enjoy it. But this could be rented out for weddings as well. Be ideal, because you didn't need to even have a player with it, although a player with it would be much nicer as well, someone who can play. But you can have this playing in the background without anyone playing it, and it's quite a novelty feature as well. So let's listen to the piece and see if you can guess what it is. I'll put it near the end. And if you have a problem with that one, as I did, had to look it up and try and find it, this one you probably will recognise straight away.